Alrighty, good morning everybody. Welcome back to another video. First off, I just want to say thank you for all the kind words, the support I received from the last video about that tournament and kind of how we handled things at the end. But I just want to say a huge thank you to you guys. It means a lot to have that kind of support, and obviously those kind words are definitely not unnoticed. But today we're back. We're going a little bit lighter today. Had a bit of a trek, taking a lighter setup. Of course, you guys know that my boat choices are kind of situational. We got the Slayer Max 10 today. Still have it outfitted with a motor, the Newport Vessels NK 180, of course. Took the graph off, took the battery out, put the deeper fish finder on just so we can see what's underneath us if need be. 5 rods, not a whole lot of tackle, bit of a haul to get down to the water. So the lighter overall setup definitely helps, and it's nice because this whole package, the Max 10 and the motor and everything, really kind of is the exact same thing as the big old Titan. It just weighs a whole lot less. I want to address one quick question from a few videos back that I promised I would answer. And it was from Ron Wallace. Ron Wallace asked, hey man, can you do a video where you share some of the things you've changed over the years of fishing tournaments? Maybe some things you used to do that you don't do anymore. You know, basic things that show how you've evolved as a tournament fisherman. Thanks man, keep them coming. Well, thank you Ron for the comment. To answer that question, that's a really good question, Ron. For me, I've been fishing kayak tournaments since 2014. I fished well over 100, so I've got some experience, and dude, I'm still learning, as you can see from the last tournament where we made an error. We didn't read the full rules. But man, I would say one of the biggest things now, for me at least, and something I've learned over the years, is preparation is huge. Preparation is half the battle when you get into the kayak tournaments, especially if you're new. I like to have checklists, reminders, checklists, notes. Everyone's got a smartphone nowadays. I put a note in my phone that I look at every morning before I take off from the house that has every single item that I need to go fishing that day. PFD, rods, baits, water, paddle, everything you would need for a day of fishing, I make sure is checked off before I leave the house. And that's why I rarely ever forget anything. That's big, and especially for tournaments, having that checklist is very key. On a similar note, tournaments nowadays, especially with Tourney X, you have to check in and out of a tournament. There's also certain times where photos have to be uploaded, as we know. A lot of time-specific events of a tournament. So I'll take in my reminders from my note. I'll actually schedule in my reminders to check in to the tournament, first cast, last cast, photo submission, back to the weigh-in. Everything is listed in the reminders, and there's an alarm that goes off and tells me exactly when that is due. That's another thing, like I said, preparation, being prepared, doing as much as you can to really only go out and fish the tournament and worry about the fishing. All that other stuff is secondary. Prep, organization, you're good to go. Now, as far as the fishing side of things, the tournament itself, that's a tricky one, and that's something I'm still learning and evolving with as time goes on. But I will say this, in looking back at all my tournaments, and specifically the ones where I've been successful, there's been a key decision, and that key decision for me has always been deciding when to make a move. Of course, we're in kayaks, we can't go as fast as the big boats. Changing spots, changing locations is a timely affair, and those are the decisions in my tournaments that made a difference. And that's something you have to work on. It takes practice. You have to have that sixth sense, that intuition as to why you're going to make a change. Why are you going to make a move? Are you going to a spot because you think you could improve your score, or are you going to a spot because you're getting bored with your current one? Are you making that 30-minute run because you have that feeling that it's a similar area you found in practice and you can reproduce another bite in that area? Or are you going because there's 2 guys behind you and you're feeling pressure and you're getting squeezed out? So really mentally focusing on the fishing and why you're making a decision. You have to really hone that skill, because time is everything, decisions are everything out on the water. If you can make that kind of a sixth sense, or improve your abilities to forecast how the fishing will be, that'll certainly be a huge player in tournaments. And like I said, it takes a lot of practice. But even for me, like, I try to take even practice days or non-tournament days just as serious, and implementing those decisions, those strategies, that mindset of when to make a move, when to change baits. And I'll say this too, the very unsexy answer for improving fishing and tournaments is time on the water. Getting out, spending as much time as you can on the water with your gear, with your equipment, with your baits, learning the water. You can't replace it. So hopefully those tips helped for tournament anglers, anglers in general. Let me know in the comments below if you have additional questions about tournaments or tips that I would give. And maybe what I'll do is I'll pin in the comments kind of a nice laid out explanation of tournament recommendations, just to make it look all pretty. But hey, we got a day out on the water. Sun is rising. It's a little chilly this morning, but I'm hoping these fish will be biting. We'll stick to what worked last time, some small swim baits, got some drop shots, stuff like that. But man, it is gorgeous. Let's go spend a day out on the water, hopefully rip some lips, and have a fun day. Well, let's go with the popper to start. Let's just go with what worked last time. A little swim bait. Just got bit. Maybe. Certainly didn't take long. They still want the little swim bait. We'll pull out the deeper a little bit later to confirm and graph a little bit, but I'm assuming there's still a ton of bait here. I mean, you can see the birds. Bait's here, bass are definitely gonna be here. Kind of interesting. The birds are all up, like out in the middle. Kind of turn your head and they'll all be gone, and they're all diving down at the same time. There's got to be a ton of bait out more in the middle of the channel right now. Maybe that's where the bass are too. Let's take a look. Just a little look-see. Start scanning a little bit. It's like a lot of these birds are more towards the mouth and towards the middle of this creek. Gotta imagine the bait balls are out there too. Alright, I'm right with the birds. There should be some bait down there. Not seeing any bait balls. I'm getting into some grass though. Now you can see the grass. Last time that's where we were getting our bites. I'd say 6 to 10 foot where there's some grass. That bait is definitely attracted to the grass, and that's of course where those bass can ambush pretty good. So I start casting again along the grass line, see if we can pick up a fish or two.
Working at our pace. I'll jump down and take a look.
Yeah, a little spot change. Nothing happening in that first spot for now. We'll see. Last time, as you guys probably remember, it took a few hours for it to heat up. So check some other stuff this morning. Revisit later. There we go. We're on. There we go. It took long enough. Choked it. Really choked it. Little swim bait. All right. There's one. Maybe the fish are starting to warm up to us. Been slow. First fish of the day. Oh my god. There we go. Nice. Man, he smoked that. That was a fun bite. That's a good one too. Alrighty. Well, had to move spots, but it paid off. Finally. Skinny post spawner, I think. That's encouraging. There's gotta be more where that came from. I'm making a cast out there and I can feel the bait land in some grass. There's definitely grass out there, which of course will hold the bait. And well, actually I can see the grass right there. But that's where a lot of these fish are hanging out, these deeper grass patches right now. Just kind of roll this bait through there. Dude, I know this is the stuff we want. I can confirm it too. Like, I can confirm this is the stuff we want. Right here. Nice deeper section. Look at all that beautiful grass down there. It totally should be down there. It's so strange. Water's cold too. Deeper give us what, 13.8 Celsius? It's like 56-degree water temperature. I mean, I know you guys can't obviously tell really, but it is freezing. Started out at 43 degrees this morning. Last week, air temp was up in the 80s and the water temp was up in the 60s. So this probably messed these fish up a little bit. And they're doing something completely different now. And also all those bedding, spawning fish that we were seeing last week, I haven't seen a single fish up shallow on a bed. I really am not sure exactly what this cold snap did to these fish, but if anything, I think it pulled them back a little bit. Just got to work for them a little bit harder. Kind of stumped. You come thinking you're just gonna start in the spot and whack them like last time. And the fishing gods are saying to you, yeah, you need to go figure it out. We're not gonna just give it to you like that. Not going to plan like we had dreamt up, having like a 50 fish day, whacking them. A little different. Wow. Came out of the rocks and got it. There we are. It's that kind of like little bit of good luck we needed. It was hung up on a rock. That fish plucked it free for me. Certainly kind of you, sir. Another largemouth. Jeez Louise, it is gusting. Woo! Man, I wouldn't mind like a gust in the cool weather if we're catching fish. We're far from catching them good. It's amazing how you feel the elements so much more when you're not catching them. Everything's a little bit cooler, wind's a little bit windier. 6 hours into the day, 3 fish. Better than nothing. Still got some time though to see if we can turn this day around. Maybe just get lucky and run across a school of them. Oh wow, it's big. There's a big one. There's a big one. Oh, I might have to get the old net for this one. Oh, that's a big smallie. Oh, come here, dude. Yeah. Nice one. Oh, finally. Slow day. Rewarded. Working the bait a little bit slower. That's a pretty brown one. A real pretty brown one. Choked it too. Man, he choked it. Gorgeous fish right there. Nice long one, nice long tail. Beauty. Didn't even feel the bite either. Kinda fish picked it up and swam off with it. About 2:30, and I can tell it's most likely not gonna be a 20 fish day. But kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, treating your non-tournament days, your fun days, like a tournament day. that's kind of what we're gonna do right now. Make that goal to get our limit, get our 5. That'd be a success in my book. I don't know why. Just catching 5, catching a limit, it just feels and sounds so much better than catching 4. Got about 35 minutes left, not even, before we gotta jam out of here. We'll try to get our 5th keeper. Save a little face. Just sitting on the grass. Oh! Pretty good one. Whew. That bait was just sitting on top of the grass. Man. Not bad. Number 5. All right, see? Number 5. That's what we wanted. I feel accomplished now, somewhat. Alrighty, guys. 4:30. Day's over. Just got the kayak back in the truck, loaded everything up, ready to make our way home. Let's recap the day. Tough day. Compared to last time we were here, conditions a lot different, of course. This past week really has been a lot cooler temperatures, and I think the water temp dropped about 5 to 6 degrees. So I think that had something to do with the bite. I think more so it pushed a lot of that bait that was up shallow in the cove out into the main lake, maybe even deeper, and I think those fish followed. Even the birds were kind of more main lake. They weren't pushing stuff up towards the bank like they were last time. So yeah, just a lot different. The fish weren't grouped up as much. Somehow we did scrape together a limit, 5 fish, or only 5 bites, I believe, all day. And the bite was weird too. We were still throwing that little swim bait. A lot of the bites I didn't even know I had until I reeled up and either felt it or they were swimming away. It wasn't like last time where we were throwing out and getting that thump and setting back. Just not the case today. Very subtle, very discreet. So I think we're pretty lucky to get those bites that we did. But as mentioned, you know, kind of towards the end of the video, and again, something I touched on in the beginning of this video was talking about one of the things that I think has maybe helped me with tournaments, or at least becoming better at fishing or learning more. And again, first of all, time on the water. There's nothing you can replace with time on the water. Getting used to your equipment, your baits, catching fish, landing fish, practicing taking photos. All those things you have to be on the water to do. So that again is one of the biggest things I recommend for improving tournament fishing, is treating your non-tournament days or your fun fishing days like a tournament and trying to do your best, really focusing, maybe even just more concentration and making the right casts, or even fishing a little bit harder than you normally would do. I mean, the same thing for other sports, other competitions. You want to train hard, you want to train like you're going to be competing, and it's kind of the same thing for fishing. You want to go out there, and yeah, it's important to have a good time and relax, but I think it is also important to focus and concentrate and maybe even problem solve a little bit. Other than that, that's going to wrap up today's video. Definitely a little tougher than it's been in the past month, so brought back down to earth a little bit, which is not necessarily a bad thing. As always, I thank you guys for watching, for coming along on today's fishing adventure, and I will catch you guys in the next video.